quick video on how to get Expo set up with TypeScript, Tailwind, and routing, along with Firebase, and how to set up a Firebase project. If you are a React.js web developer or a Next.js developer, then this is definitely the video for you to get into app development with Firebase authentication and TypeScript and Tailwind, and really it just feels like the same environment. So this is the main branch of my repo. I went ahead and did all the heavy lifting of getting this to actually work. It was a decent amount of work. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Firebase one. And in the Firebase one, all we need to do is go ahead and download our code. Okay, so once we have the code, we're going to go ahead and put this in our desktop. And then within here, we need to go ahead and read some of the README. So you want to go ahead and clone and then just simply do a yarn install. So we'll go ahead and open up our terminal, go to our desktop, and we'll go ahead and run a yarn install and get that going. Next, you want to open up your app.json and update the name and slug. So we're going to go ahead, open it up. Let's go to our app.json and let's change this to demo app, and we'll just change this to demo app. Okay, so from there, we are going to want to set up our Firebase project. So to do that, we want to go ahead and go over to Firebase and then sign up, go to console, and then go to add project. And we'll say this is YouTube demo 2 because I already tried this once. Click create project. Give it some time to go ahead and do everything Google has to do in the back end. And I've been a React.js developer for a long time, for as long as I can remember, and this has definitely allowed me to get into app development very seamlessly. So from there, you're going to land on this page. You want to go ahead and go to the web app. This is for web. I haven't tested this on iOS or Android, but I'm sure it's probably just maybe you do the iOS or Android part and not this part for web. And then if web doesn't work for iOS and Android, I'll make sure to upload an additional video on how to get it rolling on iOS and Android. So you're going to get this here. This is all you need. Then you want to go to the JSON one-liner and just go ahead and make this a valid JSON by implementing double quotes in the keys. Once that's done, compact, copy this to the clipboard, and then you want to go into your .env in this Expo public Firebase. You want to go ahead and paste that. From there, you should be good, and then all we need to do is yarn run web, and this will boot up, and then you'll notice you have your landing page. So authentication isn't going to work out of the box. You need to go ahead, click continue to console here, and then you want to go to all products. Here's where you can enable a lot of stuff with Firebase when it comes to storage. Honestly, that's all I use, storage and authentication for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and just enable authentication and the database. Real-time database is also great. And so we want to go ahead and enable, you can use any of these, which is the amazing part about Firebase, and it makes it really easy to enable multi-factor authentication. Excuse me. And another great aspect is that you have an unlimited amount of users that you're allowed to have with Firebase for free. So that's great. And you can enable passwordless sign-on. I'm just going to enable email and password sign-on. So now that's enabled, and so now this is ready to go. And you'll also notice I've gone ahead and you'll see that this scales appropriately. And if you look at the code, you'll notice all the code is just an app, and then you have your layout, and then you'll see that we have a Firebase context that comes with a lot of great utilities that you can use, and I'll allow you guys to just go ahead and look at the code on how to use a lot of this stuff. But you'll notice if the authentication is not ready or the user is not logged in, it'll present them with the login screen. And then here in the login screen, you can tell we're using a lot of our Tailwind classes. So after all that is said and done, we can go ahead and test this out. So I'll refresh, go to sign up. And all of the proper rejects is accounted for. Validation, create, and now we're in. And yes, this doesn't look very good. That's not the point. The point was to get you guys a great login screen and sign up, and then you guys can go from there and do whatever you like to do with Firebase. Some ways you can use Firebase. I have a Firebase utils, so this is all client side. So be careful with what you allow client side. If you want to update certain rules and everything around database management and what users can use in the database and what they can access, then you want to enable the real-time database eventually, and then you can set up rules in there. But what all you can do with that is pretty extensive. If you ever want to do anything with Firebase, you do Firebase utils, and then you'll have all this stuff for deleting files, get a file URL, creating documents, deleting documents, bunch of stuff. And then I also have a hook called use Firebase, and that has a lot of stuff in it that you can use, which is Firebase, the user, storage, Firestore, and auth. And you'll notice sometimes auth is needed for certain functions that are baked into Firebase. So sign in with email and password, create user, all that sort of stuff requires you to have the auth. So you have to pull that out of the hook. And then the auth also comes with a lot of great little helper methods like setting the persistence for remember me and stuff like that. But yeah, that's everything, and I really hope this video was helpful for a lot of you. Please leave any questions or comments you guys have, and I'll definitely get back to them to the best of my ability. And if you guys like this video, I'm happy to make more. Just let me know in the comments. I don't really know if this sort of information is useful to a lot of you, but yeah, thanks anyways, and the GitHub repo will be in the video description. Thanks, guys.